For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 23, printed in Part A of House Report number 118-147, offered by Mr. Donalds of Florida.
Pursuant to House Resolution 597, the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Donalds, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in support of my amendment, which establishes a voluntary pilot apprenticeship program for students at Part 141 flight schools. Up front, I want to stress that this amendment has wide bipartisan support in providing yet another option to bolster the pilot pipeline should it be a partisan issue. Specifically, for the proposed apprenticeship program, up to 8 students enrolled at Part 141 flight schools would be eligible for a new apprenticeship program each academic year. To emphasize, this is a voluntary program, meaning flight schools can choose to participate. Members might ask, why establish an apprenticeship program at flight schools? There are several reasons. First, apprentices will receive an airline standard of training and will also be provided flexibility in pursuing career aviation opportunities. Second, the bill will incentivize individuals that have an interest in aviation to attend their local flight schools, which in turn will provide a greater opportunity to bolster the pilot pipeline and a certified flight instructor pipeline simultaneously. Third, this isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. The amendment provides flexibility to establish an apprenticeship program that fits the needs, curricula of the individual flight schools themselves. After all, a flight school in Southwest Florida may have completely different operations compared to a flight school in Alaska. Moreover, there are approximately 600 Part 141 flight schools in the United States today. However, only approximately 250 of these flight schools are active in any way. This amendment includes provisions to incentivize retired airline pilots and retired military pilots to give back, specifically by directing the Secretary of Transportation to develop methods to establish an expedited path that will allow retired pilots to become certified flight instructors. After all, the value of their decades' worth of experience speaks for itself. Mr. Speaker, what I will do at this point is I will reserve the balance of my time for anybody else who wishes to speak.
The gentleman from Florida is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I would yield 2 minutes, if I have 2 minutes, to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Nels.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. First, let me start by saying I commend Chairman Graves, Ranking Member Larson, and Cohen on a very successful bipartisan FAA reauthorization of bill. I will say one of the issues that I feel very adamant about is addressing the pilot shortage, which is crippling air industry. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it is projected that 14,500 pilots will be needed every year through the year 2030. Some other outlets have estimated the number to be even higher. And for this reason, I am proud to co-sponsor the Pre-Pilot Pathway Act by my friend Byron Donalds. This common sense amendment, common sense, folks, common sense amendment requires the Secretary of Transportation to establish a voluntary apprenticeship program at Part 141 flight schools around the country. More importantly, this program incentivizes retired pilots, those who are often the most experienced, the guys with the gray hair around the temples, to remain involved in the industry and train the next generation of pilots. I support the amendment, and I urge the adoption as one of the critical ways to support our pilots and alleviate the pilot shortage. I yield back.
Gentleman reserves.
Reserves.
Gentleman from Washington is recognized.
Thank you. We'll continue to reserve unless the gentleman from Florida has no more speakers, but we'll continue to reserve.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Florida is recognized.
The gentleman is prepared to close.
Gentleman is recognized.
This is a great amendment with strong bipartisan support. I would ask the members to support this amendment, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields. Gentleman from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd ask my colleagues to oppose this amendment, and with that, I'll yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields. Question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Florida. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.